do not understand how someone could have not even a fucking moment of self-reflection, that they're just not even embarrassed. They just come in here and they're like, yeah, dude, time to fucking do your daily condemnation of Hamas again. That's right. It's like, bro, Israel apologized. No, we live in a world where you have 22,000 people watching you justify terrorism. No, dumb fuck. If I was justifying terrorism, I'd be sitting here talking about how fucking awesome what Israel's doing is. Like you are. You're the one who's trying to justify terrorism, and I'll be honest, not really doing a good job at it either. You're over here trying to justify state-sponsored terrorism in the form of killing 45 people. If Hamas had the same fucking large 2,000-pound bombs that they could drop on a fucking densely slammed area and kill 45 people, you would literally be losing your fucking mind, and it would be understandable for you to do so. You want to know why I know that? Because look at October 7. Israel's been doing October 7s every fucking day pretty much, and it still doesn't matter. 8 months of multiple October 7s, and you're still in here horny to fucking defend the actual terrorist apparatus here. It is Zionism, which is fascism. It is the IDF, which is the Gestapo, the fucking Wehrmacht, the Israeli Nazi force. Oh, god damn, dude. I guess it's fine, though, because they're democratically genociding the Palestinian population, so it's okay. You are becoming so biased if Hamas and the Muslim Brotherhood were given more authority in the Middle East. No, brother, you're only saying that because you are terrified of like Islamic rule. You have made that up in your mind. You have a very different opinion of what that actually is. And that's why you're on your fucking sock account coming in here to chirp again, because you probably got banned, I assume, for Islamophobia on prior accounts. There is no, like, this, you just made this up. You understand that, right? Like, you just personally made this up. You have no way of knowing what would actually happen in a situation where there was no more apartheid. Okay? I've never been like, no, we have to give the entire area to Hamas. I've never said that, first and foremost. So that's one faulty premise that you're operating on. And the second faulty premise that you're operating on is basically the hallucinations that I have to deal with, that you're having in your mind, where you're like, if Hamas and Muslim Brotherhood were given more authority in the Middle East, they'd be no different than the Taliban in Afghanistan. What are you doing, you fucking idiot? Screaming at your chat is non-productive. Okay, I see that a lot of people are having a really fucking hard time coming to terms with how unjustifiably and unimaginably violent their favorite state in the Middle East is. So they have to come in here and try to derail. We're going to move on from these fucking dummies, okay? I was personally trying my very best to be as charitable as I physically can be, but I think we'll continue with our news coverage here and move on to the unconscionable war crimes that Israel is engaging in. Visions of hell. Wait, what? The Atlantic said published justification for the murder of Palestinian children today? That's not surprising. That's cool, man. Thank you to the Atlantic.
The Israeli airstrikes hit a small area of prefabricated huts surrounded by desert just after evening.
The editor-in-chief is a former IOF soldier? No. The editor-in-chief is a former Israeli occupying force jailer. Not just any kind of soldier, but also one that operated the Palestinian detention facilities. So it's even worse than just like a fucking regular soldier. And it's a pretty bad fucking... Being a soldier in general in the IDF is like one of the worst things you can be. And there's like 8 different fucking groups of people that are like a little bit worse than that. And he hits that one. He's like the torture guy.
Prayers last night.
Yeah, also, this conversation is so fucking idiotic. Thank you, Central Committee, for bringing this up. I keep forgetting to mention this. Israel's trying to form an alliance with Saudi Arabia, which is a non-democratic theocratic monarchy, as a matter of fact, ruling under a radical Wahhabism, which is far-right Sunni sect. It's not like they give a shit about religious extremism. They just want Palestine's land. Thank you. You're absolutely correct on this. They just want all the Palestinians there to die. They want them to get the fuck away. They want them to go away. They want their lives to be fucking miserable, so they leave, or they die if they don't leave. That's it. They're trying to provoke you, so you'll end up misspeaking or say a trigger phrase. Then they'll clip you. Don't fall for it. Yeah. We'll look at the Christian album per piece in a little bit. I have it here. The notion that Hamas are bad because they're bad is stupid. Here in Algeria, the FLN, Front de Libération Nationale, was also labeled as a terrorist organization by the French occupation and their European allies. Now it's praised as a symbol of freedom. It's always the same shit. Yes, that's why I said the IRA as well. The IRA, the FLN, and also Mandela's party as well. Okay? The Viet Cong. Yeah, the ANC, the Viet Cong, the IRA. Every single instance. It is so weird that every single instance where there is a liberatory group, there's an emancipatory force that actually is violently trying to engage in an act of revolution, trying to violently engage in an act of emancipation, violently resisting against an unimaginable, untold amount of violence caused by the occupying entity under the legal structure designed by the Western world. They're always the fucking enemies. They're always the terrorists. They're always the bad guys. Okay? They're always the fucking bad guys. You think Nazi Germany didn't consider the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising to be fucking bad? Conducted by the bad guys? Of course they did. So in many ways, it becomes a much simpler equation. You have to look at a situation and go, who's right here? And if roles were reversed, you would understand who's right. Okay? If it was an Arab Muslim country dominating 6 million Jews and locking them in concentration camps, locking them in a fucking apartheid structure where there are two tiers, and then maybe every now and then they'll have one Jewish person on like a political position, as they did in Nazi Germany as well, by the way. You have to remember that. Okay? And then they turn around and go, hey, guess what, dude? It's actually fucking what apartheid? What are you talking about? As they bomb one of the concentration camps, as they bomb one of the open air prisons where almost 2.5 million Jews live, where they have the population registry, where they literally have complete access to their water, their electricity, all matter of commerce. And those 2 million Jews living in that open air prison rely on international aid to survive, where the unemployment is at like 60%. There is 24/7 drone surveillance. And the Arab Muslim country that's doing this would get all matter of like support from these massive countries, these dominating hegemonic superpowers that are just giving them all the fucking weapons to do so. You would know exactly what's going on there because a similar thing happened. Okay?
A Hamas official confirmed that 2 senior commanders targeted by Israel were killed.
This chart is cognizant of the weird coalition that occurred in the 1940s. Wonder why America's there. Weird. Because we are the fucking number one funders and facilitators of fascism. Grinspan, a Jewish militant, killed the German ambassador in France in response to what Germany did. He was tried as a terrorist, and Nazis used it to justify more oppression.
But there's no doubt that Palestinian civilians were also among the dead and injured. Israel claims it used precise munitions and that its intelligence assessment prior to this strike was that what it called uninvolved civilians would not be hurt. But dozens were taken to field hospitals, including these children, prompting expressions of outrage from some European leaders. Just days after the UN's top court ordered Israel to stop the violence.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy that the international community was like, hey, man, you're like kind of out of control here. Perhaps you should stop being so violent in Rafah specifically. And Israel's answer to that was, no, thank you. As a matter of fact, I will not be doing that. And I will get even more violent than you ever could have imagined. It's great. Thank you.
What kind of conscience and religion does this? What kind of humanity? Where is the world? Where is the Islamic nation?
During the night, we received a total of 28 people who were dead on arrival and 180 wounded who were then stabilized and referred to the very few remaining medical structures within the area.
Daylight brought children searching among the charred ruins for anything of any value, because these people have almost nothing. The UN says over 800,000 Palestinians have fled the fight.
The BBC should show the headless beheaded baby that the father was carrying, and then show the tweets in the Telegram channel chats where Zionists were calling the headless baby a charred chicken nugget, and all the memes were saying they were chickens for sale for 1 shekel. Dude, there's no way to... Guys, I'm telling you, when I try to explain to you, like, we are literally watching fascism unfold. And I don't mean like, oh, you're a fascist because you're a Republican. Like, I'm talking about old school, straight up, definitional, ultra-nationalist fascism. This is what I mean. Okay? This is it. This is it. People love to fucking think about like, people love to dream about like, oh yeah, dude, no, I'd be fucking so, in times like in former instances of like American violence, I'd be on the right side of history for sure, bro. It's like, no, you wouldn't, because you're doing that right now. Aaron Bushnell was correct. Huh. How dare you compare other genocides to this one? This one is a much slower burn than other genocides. That is the truth.
In the last 3 weeks alone. The Israelis say this was not a designated area to where civilians could evacuate, though it was certainly close to one. And having been displaced so many times, many dared believe they were at last safe.
We were displaced to the city of Rafah because they said it was safe. We were in our tents, ready to sleep, and I was trying to take care of my brother when we heard a big explosion and fire broke out, and people started screaming.
Yesterday, I pulled out the remains of 5 children and about 3 women, all in pieces, and none of them could be identified.
Why is Israel getting so much condemnation from Europe? Is it because of the ICC? Why is there such a difference in reaction compared to when Israel had already killed like 30,000 Palestinians in the first 3 months of the conflict? I don't just get it. Guys, there's a reason why. Listen. If you're kind of unfamiliar with the way that Zionism is operated, and I think many like former Zionists who are now anti-Zionists in this chat will actually remember this most likely. If you haven't been paying a lot of attention, you will notice that 75% of the UN condemnations, something like an insane amount of United Nations condemnations, are directed towards Israel. Okay? And none of them are actually enforceable because every single one of them has been vetoed by the Security Council. The UN has no power outside of the Security Council. You have the UNGA, the General Assembly, which all countries are a part of, and then you have the Security Council. The Security Council has rotating countries, and then it has 5 countries that are always permanent members, the real permanent members of the UN Security Council, okay? And the United States of America in the Security Council is consistently the #1 defender of Israel and has consistently voted on whatever the fuck Israel wants, and has consistently voted to strike down any kind of condemnation. So the UN has always been very critical of Israel, and many Zionists will tell you for years and years that's the reason why they've always said UN is actually very anti-Semitic. It's so anti-Semitic. The number one Zionist argument has always been, why so much criticism against Israel? Why Israel? Why not any of these other fucking countries that are doing their own versions of war crimes? That is the #1 fucking argument that I've heard from Zionists for years and years and years and years, okay? Now they've obviously elevated that to directly being like UN is Hamas, but that's straight up an old school Zionist take. The only reason is because America defends Israel. So none of those condemnations ever amounted to anything. Okay? The major difference is now, beyond those condemnations, the world is paying attention. Young people are paying attention. That's the major issue right now. And that's why there's a lot more pressure, and that's why these international organs are feeling like they have some kind of momentum. They feel galvanized. They see what is going on, and can actually take action. The other side of this equation, of course, is obviously Israel's own personal behavior, its own personal conduct thus far. Israel has gone above and beyond. There has never been a siege that has been this violent, this brutal, this bloody. Okay? Israel has done mowing of the lawn operations time and time again in the Gaza Strip. It always is the same exact situation, okay? There's a ceasefire. There is a Hamas follows on the conditions of said ceasefire since the pullout. There's a ceasefire that is agreed upon. Then Israel starts brutalizing the Palestinian population in the West Bank. Hamas says, yo, cut that shit out. We're going to fucking lob some rockets. Okay? Then Israel says, lol, okay, good luck. And then continues brutalizing the Palestinians in the West Bank. Hamas throws a couple rockets, or maybe like takes a fucking IDF soldier hostage or whatever the fuck. And then Israel turns around and engages in a siege. They siege Gaza. They kill a shit ton of people, a couple thousand people here and there. They blow up a bunch of fucking buildings. And then they turn around and inevitably arrive at yet another ceasefire for a couple years. And in that ceasefire period, while many Americans are not paying attention, while many Israelis are not paying attention, the Israeli government is still very much operating in the exact same violent and brutal ways. The apartheid, that is, of course, whether it be in the Gaza Strip, implementing unimaginable trade restrictions, putting the Palestinians on a fucking caloric deficit that they openly say is putting them on a diet. And on the West Bank, they have the military occupation. No state with contiguity for Palestinians on their own fucking ancestral homeland that the United Nations literally told them this is your thing. Actually insane that they can just get away with all of this like nothing is happening. I just don't understand. It is because of the United States of America that they can get away with this like there is nothing happening. We give them the weapons and we give them the political cover. That's it. This is precisely why I say America fucking bad, okay? That's it. That's it. There's no way that they get to do this without American support. None.
The scale of what happened last night has forced Israel's Prime Minister into calling this a tragic mistake.
In Rafah, we already evacuated about 1 million non-combatant residents. And despite our utmost efforts not to harm non-combatants, something unfortunately went tragic.
Yeah, oh, it's a tragic mistake. A tragic mistake. I never thought that this would happen. Oh, piece of shit. Yeah. Meanwhile, as Netanyahu is like, oh, it's a tragic mistake. His fucking mouthpiece is celebrating the Rafah attack. Like it's a Lag BaOmer bonfire. Of course. Tragic mistake, by the way. Oh, dude. Oh, yes. Thank you. Hasan is a buy. I literally thought you were going to use this as an opportunity to fucking serve a 3-minute ad break at the top of the hour. So thank you for actually sending me, not that, but instead, the actual thing that the Israeli Defense Force tweeted last night. Oh my God. Which, by the way, at the top of the hour, there is a 3-minute ad break. I'm going to do that right now. Obviously, I'm going to serve that right now. But this is the other aspect of this. This is the other aspect of this that I have to mention, which is that the IDF did exactly the same fucking bullshit that they do every time. Every fucking time. Every time, dude. Oh. They immediately came out with a justification for it. Okay? It's so strange, dude. It's so strange. Perhaps that is why more knowledgeable people in the immediate aftermath of the Al Ahly attack was like, hold on, I don't think this is a fucking exploded ordnance, even though it kind of looks a little weird. And everyone was like, wait, but Israel said they didn't blow up the hospital. I was like, bro, they fucking blew up the hospital 2 days prior. What are you talking about? The fuck do you mean? And they've blown up every hospital since then. Remember that. Anyway, the 3-minute ad break is here. Young Slug, thank you for the 10 community gift subs, allowing 10 people to no longer see the ads at the top of the hour. Okay, here's the 3-minute ad break now. So what's up? Last night, the Israeli Air Force site carried out an intelligence-based precise strike targeted senior Hamas terrorist Intal as Sultan. Contrary to Hamas's lies and misinformation, the strike did not take place in the Al-Mawasi humanitarian area. This is the area where the strike actually happened. Calm down. Your haters would love to clip this. Wait, what? What did I say? I didn't say anything that, like... Clip what? Yeah, only hours before Netanyahu decided to claim the strike was a mistake, the IDF edited the humanitarian zone again, the one they had unilaterally declared to say refugee tents they struck in Rafah were not a part of it. Okay? So just something to consider here. There is no amount of fucking cruelty or brutality or violence that Israel won't do. And there's no amount of lies that they won't tell. That's it. Like, since October 7, there have been, unironically, less real statements that the organs of communication and propaganda from the Israeli government have made than lies. If you look at all of the statements that they offer for one truthful sentiment that they express, there is 700 lies. Every single thing. Now, that's not unique to Israel. That's what every government does, okay? The one thing, however, that is unique to Israel, okay? The one thing, because, like, dude, come on. I'm an American citizen, okay? It's like listening to the fucking State Department yap about, like, weapons of mass destruction and then justify an untold amount of cruelty that we subject the rest of the fucking planet to. That's their job. That's what the government does, okay? So don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying, like, some anti-Semitic shit, which is what a lot of people immediately get into a defensive posture against and go, oh, you must be saying this because, oh, they're Jews. They lie all the time, right? No, motherfucker. They're the government. Of course they're going to lie. The difference, however, with the way and the consistency in which Israel lies is that they don't even put effort into it. It blows my fucking mind. That's why it's partially laughable that people say, oh, Jews control Hollywood, Jews control the world. Motherfucker, look at them. Look at these Jews in Israel. What happened? They can't even fucking put together a decent, halfway decent lie. What happened? What, do they not have like a single fucking marketing manager? What's going on? Do they not have like an Ogilvy guy there? It doesn't make any sense. They literally would just be like, yeah, guys, they're terrorists. They're terrorists. They're terrorists. And here's why. Okay? Here's why. Here's why. It's because they don't need to. Because America has nestled Israel in its fucking bosom. Okay? That's why they don't think they need to lie adequately. That is the reason. It is basically the worst propaganda I've ever fucking seen. There's no, like, dude, even when the fucking pipeline blew up, like, the only thing I can think of, is like when America tried to be like, Russia must have blown up its own pipeline. Do you remember that? That was like an instance where I was like, come on, dude. Come on. Like, that's crazy. Okay. What the fuck are we doing here? You know what I mean? Like, there was a mass blast where the American government was like, yeah, the Russia probably blew up its own pipeline. We don't know who did it. Definitely not our allies. And it was just like, dude, you're on autopilot. Are you fucking serious? You couldn't come up with something better than that? Like, you know what would have made more sense if you said, like, the orcas did it, you know? Oh, God, I fucking hate this disgusting Groiper Nazi freak. Literally everywhere. Thank you, Elon Musk. You are so great. I swear to God, if I was literally 10% more conspiratorial, I would say that this is a psyop to make it seem like every single Palestinian defender is actually just straight up a Nazi, because that's the most visible aspects on Twitter of like Palestinian emancipation is almost always like the Jake Shield type. It's just like, it's so fucking gross, dude. Huh. Anyway. It's crazy how the whole Elon plus ADL partnership ended up with every report of open anti-Semitism on the platform getting immediately dismissed by the supposed safety team on Twitter. Spoiler alert, is just boss now. Yeah. AOC says the idea of attack on a tent camp of innocents in Rafah is an indefensible atrocity. This was done in open defiance of POTUS's red line and the ICJ's call for a ceasefire. It is long past time for the president to live up to his word and suspend military aid. That's right. That's great. AOC acting like Biden has a genuine red line. Bro, what do you mean? That's like phenomenal fucking political pressure being conducted literally from the right. She is a fucking congressperson. What are we talking about? Yeah, of course, dude. That's what you're supposed to say when you are literally a part of the government in the Democratic Party. What are you talking about? Shut the fuck up. That's her job. She's doing her job. She's doing it in the right way as well. Of course, we know that Biden's red line is like ridiculous. It's copium. You know it is. Oh my God. You don't understand anything about you don't understand anything about applying political pressure from inside of the fucking party. Guys, if you're anti-electoralist, just don't care about AOC. That's it. And move on. I don't know why I have to constantly hear from people who are like, I'm not going to vote. I don't care about voting. Fuck voting. I'm actually going to magically wish for for the socialist revolution to occur as a consequence of the internal contradictions of capitalism. It's going to fall apart, and socialism will magically happen. If that's your opinion, okay, or if your opinion is that like, no, I'm a part of a Marxist-Leninist vanguard party, and we're going to literally seize a forward operating base right now. We're on our way. If that's your take, then don't care about AOC. That's it. It's not for you. This conversation is not for you. It's for like millions of Americans who do actually think of AOC as like somewhat of a radical figure, but I like her because she's young. And it's seemingly on my side when it comes to the interests. On my side when it comes to like, some good ideas. She got some good ideas. Okay? They're saying Biden doesn't have a red line. No, of course I know Biden doesn't have a red line. They're telling that to me. Okay? You think I don't know that? I just said Biden keeps fucking magically cutting the red line exactly around whatever Israel is doing. There is something very different about me having an opinion on this and AOC making a public statement as a very popular congressional representative in the Democratic Party, okay? Of course, this is a very appropriate mechanism for pushback. That is the type of shit that actually gets her broad coverage. That is how she can fucking go to CNN and talk to Jake Tapper, because she doesn't call Jake Tapper a cunt like I do, okay? Even though Jake Tapper is a cunt. Do you understand? What do you want? What do you want her to say? Be like, yeah, we need to off with the Biden's head. Yeah. Fake Tapper. That was so good. Can you explain more why Israel is Israel's fascist? I always have trouble arguing this point. Okay, let's do this very quickly. Are you ready for this? Let's say, what is fascism? Okay, let's Google that. Let's start there. Fascism is a far-right, authoritarian, ultranationalist political ideology and movement characterized by a dictatorial leader, centralized autocracy, militarism, forcible suppression of opposition, belief in a natural social hierarchy, subordination of individual interests for the perceived good of the nation or race. Now, this is the Wikipedia definition, which is like, not great, right? It's not great. However, having said that, Israel and Zionism in general as an ideology hits almost every single fucking marker on this list. If you were to look at, let's say, Umberto Eco's like your fascism or the 14 tenets. Where is it? Oh. Ultranationalism, combined with the myth of national rebirth, is a key foundation of fascism. Robert Paxton argues that a passionate nationalism is the basis of fascism, combined with a conspiratorial and Manichaean view of history, which holds that the chosen people have been weakened by political parties, social classes, unassimilable minorities, spoiled rentiers, and rationalist thinkers. Roger Griffin, and this is the best definition for the record of fascism, much better than the other thing that they were talking about, identifies the core of fascism as being palingenetic ultranationalism. What does that mean? Palingenetic ultranationalism. It means that one group of people that has been ordained, that has been decided on as the in-group, the powerful in-group, engages in an unimaginable, untold amount of violence to those who are on the out-group. Okay? And there is a mythology that you basically build around this in-group. For Israel, the in-group is the Jewish population. Okay? And the history and the national mythos surrounding the development of Israel and the continuation of the Israeli apartheid is, which by the way, this is the foundational plank of Zionism, is the 3,000-year history of Jews in the land that they consider Israel, that they think is theirs. Okay? And no amount of cruelty to the outgroup, Palestinians, whether they are Christian or Muslim, doesn't matter, but Palestinians broadly, is seen as too much because it's 3,000 years of national mythos. It's 3,000 years of history. How dare you? And this doesn't mean that there is no real part of Israeli history or not Israeli history, sorry, Jewish history that understandably causes frustration and fear. There is a lot of trauma. Okay? There is a lot of trauma in the Jewish past. And it's not just the Holocaust either. We're talking about pogroms. Jews have always been historically considered, even when we were talking about like villagers, okay? They were like, oh shit, the well doesn't have like adequate water. Our children are dying. Who's to blame? Oh, it must be the Jews, my lord. Okay? Literally, anytime some shit goes wrong, they're like, it's Jews. Jews did it. Jews did it. For 3,000 years, no matter what. Okay? So there is an aspect of shared Jewish culture and shared Jewish history that also legitimizes some of these fears, okay? That like if there isn't a Jewish ethno-state, we are going to get Holocaust again. We're going to get Holocausted again. Okay? So that actually, in my opinion, makes it even fucking harder to shake a lot of people off this position. Not that it fucking matters, though, at the end of the day, because there aren't that many Jews on the planet. 15 million total. 6 million in the United States of America, or even larger number than that. There's 6 million in Israel, sorry. Okay? So this conversation, even if all Jews magically decided to be anti-Zionists, the most rabid anti-Zionists, would still be happening on the same fucking boundaries, because you know who the number one defenders of Israel is? The number one defenders of the Zionist fascism are? It's Christians. And it always has been Christians. It's American evangelical Christians that are literally 10x the number of Jews in general. And this is, weirdly enough, something that we never discuss.
Today, Israel.
Oh, double down news, Israel fascism. Okay, I hope that one guy, that one chatter who asked me, like, how do I describe the concepts like of Zionism being fascist is a little bit better equipped. I hope that was like a little bit more helpful for you. And if it wasn't helpful for you, I hope it was helpful for others. Translating Israeli tweets like discovering a lost page from Mein Kampf theory confirmed yet again. Literal Nazis, and I mean that with the full sincerity of the word. What exactly are you stressed about? I will repeat again. In Gaza, you should not leave a living soul. Children, women, old men. Everyone should be killed. Every impure soul born in this rotten and poisonous land should be removed from the world. Holy shit, dude. It's just like normally, there are a lot of people that are just like at the edges, right? Normally, you would, if someone showed this to me, okay? If someone showed this to me and we're like, this is how every Zionist is like, I'd be like, I don't know. But right now, that is what Zionism has become. Okay? It doesn't matter if you're a fucking liberal Zionist or not. This is what Zionism is right now. Okay? However, what? No, don't bark. Hey. You're barking. You're riling her up. It's my brother riling Kaya up. Kaya! Come here! Come here, my baby! Oh my god! Hello! Hello! Did you wake up? Did you wake up? Oh, baby. Anyway, sorry. Getting back to just man-made horrors beyond comprehension. We'll talk more about Israeli Zionism. We'll talk more about